You got it. There you go. That's why. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's go. It's Big Liddy. Yeah, that's a lot, bro. That's
Blind.
bro, it's going.
Can't see where I'm pointing it in.
It's taking 18 years. You can see, I told you this.
Where is it? Test me.
Got it? Oh. So we are here, man, after a year of some really great table episodes, and this is the Christmas episode.
This is the Christmas episode. Merry Christmas, Isaiah.
Merry Christmas.
What are you
George.
getting for Christmas?
Nothing.
Not,
My daughter is gonna get all the
there
gifts
you
this
go.
year. That's
Yeah,
how it
we're
goes,
grown-ups.
but
We don't get anything.
I
Maybe
came
some
to that,
socks.
bro. I came to that realization this year for real.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, it's over now.
Yeah.
It's all about the
this
kids
year,
now.
really.
Yeah, I know. I sound
That's
like a
kind of
child.
late.
I know, but it's like people are asking me what would you like for Christmas, or we want to, and I'm like, yeah, just get my daughter
Pay
something.
my mortgage.
Yeah, literally, that's what I need. But like you said, also socks, and any of the what is it that
Toothpaste.
Byron said a couple weeks ago that it's
Underwear.
like it's the gift that you need,
Yeah, but
Um,
it's the gift that you need, but it's not the gift that you know if you need it.
Yes,
I
word
think it's what I think it's what he said.
wanted.
Which, yeah, that it wanted,
you
which
go.
actually goes perfectly
Look at
into
that.
what Lucas just spoke about
Wow, look at that.
during our kids' Christmas service.
He did.
You would think, it's the kids' Christmas service. Lucas might just mail it in,
Yeah,
but
right.
no, he came suited up
Nah, he's the man.
to preach.
He's ready to roll.
Let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I thought that, I always say that Christmas message, especially when you have a kid show that's so adorable, it's a hard message to preach.
Yeah.
Even though it's a message that we all know, especially if you grew up at the church,
Right.
it's really important because think about it. During Christmas, even during Easter, sometimes that's the only time that some people will walk into the church.
Yeah.
And so I think that message is extremely important. And I felt like Lucas did a really good job of explaining who we truly celebrate and the gift that God has really offered us and why that gift is super important.
Yeah.
How practical accepting that gift can be and how transformative it can be for our lives.
Yeah.
And so to me, it made the kids show even better because you just remember the real reason.
Yeah.
But I have a funny relationship with Christmas messages. Me personally. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's what you just said earlier. It's like sometimes people mail it in.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when I was listening to Lucas, I was like, no, like Lucas, this is coming straight from his heart. Like
Yeah.
this is coming straight from. He wants us to get this right now. Like he wants no one to leave here and forget the fact that Jesus is the reason for the season, legitimately. And I don't know. I really felt it in my heart and in my head. It also might have just been the kids had me emotional.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you though. But
Your kid was up there.
oh,
Dea
absolutely,
did amazing.
she did her thing. She wasn't supposed to be up there as much as she was, but somehow she went up there
Yeah,
3
she's
times.
like, I'm going up there
Let's
again.
go. And she was scared to go up the first
Yeah.
time, so I'm so proud of
Nah,
her.
I loved watching her up there. All the kids did a great job.
Yeah, man.
I think that tension that you might be feeling is, so if you look at the two major holidays that we celebrate in church, there's a lot of holidays that we might observe or whatever, but the two holidays in church that like pretty much our year is built around
Right.
is Easter and Christmas.
Absolutely.
Easter is really easy to, I think, especially when you're grown up, to kind of see the power behind it because we're talking about how Jesus went to the cross, died, and then resurrected.
Yeah.
Christmas, I think, because it's so wrapped, no pun intended, but wrapped with tradition and the holiday spirit and all these things that aren't necessarily, they don't really have anything to do with Jesus being born, but they're a part of Christmas for us.
They are.
The Christmas tree, the gifts, all these traditions that you might have as a family. So I think sometimes that the reason for the season gets a little lost with all of that.
It
So
does.
maybe we feel that tension because we're just like, okay, what's the big deal about this?
Absolutely.
The thing that always kind of brings me back to why this matters, and I think Lucas did a great job kind of explaining, the gift and how Jesus brought the gift of righteousness and
Yeah.
joy and peace,
Yeah.
forgiveness. I think it's so powerful. One of the most powerful things for me when it comes to the Christmas season And people are like, well, it's not actually the day that Jesus was born, blah
Right,
blah blah.
right,
Like,
right,
yeah, we
right.
get it,
Stop it.
but we're celebrating the fact that he was born.
Absolutely.
It might not be the actual day historically. We understand that, but I think it's worth observing that because you look at the life of Jesus and what he came to accomplish, and it was so powerful. And I was even having a conversation with Pastor Paul this morning, how salvation didn't come in a snap of a finger. Like Jesus came and lived a life. He was born, and then 30 years later, 33 years later,
Yeah.
he went to the cross and died.
That's
and
right.
I think reminding ourselves that it didn't just start there at the cross. It started when he was born.
That's right.
And the fact that God chose to send the savior of the world as a baby
Yeah.
is so powerful.
That's so
It's
good.
so cool. It speaks to some of the things that we've learned this year with the Seed series.
Come on.
Great things start small.
They do.
In so many different instances in the Bible, God is trying to teach us this principle that the greatness, the power, the mighty, it doesn't always come as you're expecting it. Sometimes he'll send it in a very small way.
Small package.
Sometimes the most powerful things will come in a very small way, and Jesus ultimately taught us that through his birth. And I think it's an incredible story that we should remember.
Yes.
We should fight to remember those things. And I love Christmas time. I love the family time and
Yeah.
the traditions and all of it is just so fun. And I believe that God is actually pleased when we choose to partake in the traditions.
I think so,
I think
too.
that he's
Yeah.
pleased with the fact that it's a time that families come together, that it's a
course.
time that maybe more people come to church. But I think that we should do our part in remembering how powerful it was that our Savior,
Yeah.
who came to do something that nobody else could do,
Yeah.
he came as a baby.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Lucas did a really good job at painting the expectation set out of the Old Testament for this thing
Yeah.
too, and that's also a big part of it. It's the subversion of expectations
Yeah.
in this holiday season. I think that also is kind of what has me in my bag a little
Yeah.
bit. It's like, all right, well, I expect it to be this type of a day, or I expect my life to have gone this type of a way, and the things of faith tend to be subversive when
Yeah.
it comes to our expectations.
Right.
And I think Jesus coming and this big moment of the Savior arriving, happening in a small, tiny way that, like you said, took time. He took time to grow before he even came to do what he came to do,
Yeah.
which is die on the cross. There's so much wisdom you can glean out of that. And
Yeah.
on top of that, it takes faith to be patient enough
Right.
to let that grow as well. And I think that that's part of what I'm also just reflecting
Yeah.
on in this season as well. As I look at the things that are growing around me,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, it's like, one, I never expected this to be where it's at right now. This
Yeah.
is absolutely crazy.
Right.
But two, it's like that God would bless me enough to, through his son, give me the opportunity to live a
Right.
life of purpose and to
Yeah.
live a life filled with peace.
Yeah.
And to see the way that peace, it sprouts new parts of life in the people around me that I love,
Yeah.
and seeing their stories. Again, going back to my daughter, that's part of why I go back to the whole gifts thing. It's like she is a manner in which the Lord reveals himself in his gift of life to me on a daily
Yeah.
basis. And in this season, it's even more so. So that's
Yeah.
why the show is special. It's
Yeah.
not just because they're so cute and
Right.
it was so adorable as they're
Yeah.
cracking their jokes with the skit. It's
Yeah.
like, look at these kids that are growing up, and this is what they know. They know this from this point.
Yeah.
Man, that's an amazing thing
That's
that
so
we get
cool.
to be a part of and behold that
Right.
God is doing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, Christmas is such a special time, and I feel like that message. I don't want people to listen to the podcast or to have heard the sermon and maybe been distracted. Like, Jesus is the ultimate gift. He is the gift of this season.
Yeah.
Straight like that, man.
Yeah.
And I think if we sit and we ponder long enough and recognize that any other gift that we try to manufacture or we try to make up, we try to put in a hallowed place or as an idol, a dumb idol, like Pastor Paul always says, it's going to fall short. But
Right.
Jesus continues to unwrap himself in our lives on a daily basis as we continue to seek him.
Right.
And that's what I love about Christmas.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the holidays.
Yeah. I think it's special. And like I said, I think God is pleased when God is in it when we gather with our
Yeah.
families. God's in it when, when you as a family, you're continuing traditions that you've had for many. I really feel like
Yeah.
God is in all of that.
That's
and
right.
So I would just encourage, our church family, like as you go, and spend time with the family or whatever it is that you're doing, whatever traditions you're following or whatever it is that, you're partaking in, like just know that God is in it. And when you choose to bring him in,
Absolutely. He is.
I think that, okay, we're not at church and we're not having a church service, but I think that through us spending time together with
Yeah.
the people that we love,
Yeah.
whether it's blood family or chosen family, like whatever it is, when you choose to spend time with people and share the holidays with people, it honors God.
It does.
And I think that's very powerful.
It does.
Because it's such a great, what an honor that we get to honor God in
that.
everything, in
Yes,
all things.
In all things, exactly. It all comes together
Yeah.
here, right? Even at the beginning of this year, we were talking about church leaving the building.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't need to necessarily have the service when we think of the fact that we are the church.
Right.
That celebration happens outside of these walls too. And yeah, man, I'm excited to come back and see everyone once the holidays
Yeah.
are all over and hear about the stories and hear how people had a great time and traveling that went on and all these
Yeah.
different things. Because then it just overflows into a new year of life
Yeah.
and gratefulness and momentum.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be a great next year
Yeah.
here at Central.
I look forward to it, man.
Me too, man.
Well, that's it. That's all we got.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's time for Christmas.
It's Christmas time.
It's
We
Christmas
thank you,
time.
We thank you so much for joining us for
Yeah.
another. Actually, no, we thank you for joining us for a bunch of episodes
Yeah.
of here at the table. We're excited for next year and all that's to come, and we wish you and your family a Merry Christmas.